Hello everyone, this is Mrs Edwards bringing you your numeracy lesson for today. Today we are focusing on a subject called geometry, which is basically a really posh word for shapes. And we will be looking at 2D shapes, which are flat, and 3D shapes, which I refer to as the poppy up shapes. So today's target is that we need to recognise, name and sort some 2D and 3D shapes. And we will do that by naming the 4 basic 2D shapes, naming at least 4 3D shapes, and recognising the similarities and the differences between 2D and 3D shapes. You will need today your paper and your pencil. I did try and think of some of the things you might find useful, but shapes is such a strange one. I didn't really know what to tell you to find, so just keep your paper and your pencil handy, and as we move through the lesson it might be that we realise some things that we could use to help us. Right, so let's kickstart our lesson with a true or a false. Have a look at these pictures. There's a blue shape, a red shape and a green shape, and the statement says that these shapes are all triangles. Is that true or false? Pause the video, have a think, and we'll check on the next slide. Okay, so the answer is false. The green shape is not a triangle because it has 5 sides, so it's actually a pentagon. The only shapes that were triangles was the red one and the blue one because they had 3 corners and 3 sides. Now, time to look at another true or false question. This picture is another blue shape, but it's a 3D shape this time. And it says this is a cube. So I want you to think carefully. Is this shape a cube? Do you know? Have a think. If you're not sure, we'll check on the next slide. This question is also false. This is a cuboid, and I always think of a cuboid as being a 3D rectangle. If it was a cube, it would look more like a 3D square, and it says that all the faces of a cube are square. So that question was false. Well done if you got that answer right. Okay then, so this is a nice one to start off with. It says we're going to label the shapes. So we've got here a word bank. We've got the word square. We've got the word rectangle. We've got the word circle. And we've got the word triangle. And I need you to think about which shape goes with which shape word. And I need you to label them, okay? Right, pause that video, work it out for me, and we'll check on the next slide. Okay then, as you can see, I have colour coded all of the shapes for you. So you can see that the square is green, and I've linked it up with the word square, and I've even written it nice and neatly underneath so you can see how I would write it. Then the rectangle is a lovely turquoise cyan colour, and I've linked it up to the rectangle word. You can see there, and I've written it nice and neatly underneath. The circle is pink, and I've done the same. I've circled the word circle in pink, and I've written the word circle here. And then triangle is blue, and I've circled the word, linked it to the shape, and written it nice and neatly at the bottom. Well done if you got all those shapes correct. If you didn't, don't worry. Just have a little look at this page and familiarise yourself with them. I always remember that a circle is round and has no beginning or end. I know that a triangle has 3 corners and 3 sides, and that's really important because the word try is a way of saying 3 in lots of different languages. So try is another word for 3, which is how I remember triangle. And then we've got our square with 4 sides the same length. And then we've got our rectangle, which has got two sides longer than the other two sides. So I liked doing that one. I liked remembering my 2D shapes. Okay, so more 2D shapes here. So these are our flat shapes. Which shape on this page is the square? Now remember, I've just told you what a square is. It's a shape that has four sides the same length. Okay, which one do you think that is? And we will check. That's right, it is the yellow shape. You can see that the other shapes are rectangles and they have two sides that are slightly longer than the other two, but our yellow shape is definitely a square. All of the sides are the same length, so well done if you got that right. Now, more 2D shapes, nice flat shapes. This question says, which shapes are circles? Now, if you remember, I said a circle has got no start and no end, so I just need you to have a little look. Which ones do you think are circles? There may be more than one of them. Pause the video, work it out, and we will check in a moment. Okay then, so we've got here a lovely yellow circle, and we've got here a lovely green circle, but this blue shape here is actually an oval. And when I was looking at this shape, me and my friend decided it was a sort of flowery shape. We thought it looked a little bit like a flower, but we didn't really know the proper shape name for that one. But we talked about it looking a bit like a flower. So we've got two circles on this page and an oval. And an oval is not a circle. Even though it's got lovely curved edges, it's not a circle. So well done if you got that question right. Okay, now this page is really interesting, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but this page has got one 3D shape on it. Oh, so you need to be looking out for that. And the question simply says, out of all of these shapes, which shapes are triangles? Okay, and if you remember, the word triangle indicates it has three corners and three sides. So have a little look at these shapes. Pause the video if you need to. Figure out which ones are the triangles, and then we'll check on the next slide. Okay then, so we have got this red shape here is a triangle, and you can see I've written the number 3 because it's got 3 corners and 3 sides. Then we've got this lovely blue cyan triangle here, which has got 3 corners and 3 sides. But the other shapes are not triangles. But what I've done is I've written a description for the shapes that I know. So here, the purple shape, where's my cursor one? There it is. This purple shape here is a rectangle, and it has 4 corners and 4 sides, and 2 of those sides are longer. Can you see those 2 there? Are longer than these sides here. Then I've put the green shape, so this shape here is a pentagon, and it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. And then this beautiful sort of fuchsia pinky purple shape here is the 3D shape that I was talking about earlier, and it's actually a square based pyramid. Now this shape I'm pretty sure is called a chevron, which is almost a posh word for an arrow, but I would need to double check that that is the correct mathematical language to use. But if I was to describe this, I would say it's a chevron shape or an arrow shape. Okay, so well done if you knew there were only 2 triangles. Okay, this one's a fun one now because I feel like you're getting to understand what our 2D shapes are. We've got rectangles, which have got 2 sides longer than the other 2. We've got, there's there's our rectangles. We've got circles that have no beginning and no end. We've got triangles, which have got 3 corners and 3 sides. And we've got squares, which have sides all the same length. So what I need you to do is to match up those shape words with the correct shapes, with the correct groups of shapes. So pause the video, see if you can match them up, and we will check on the next slide. Okay then, so rectangles, we said, were shapes with 2 long sides and 2 short sides. And I can see here, these are the shapes with 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So I'm going to go whoop and send the arrow to the word rectangles. And here, circles. We said a circle was round, it had no beginning and no end, it just goes round and round and round and round. And I found all the lovely circles here, and I've just drawn an arrow, whoop, all the way to join up to that word. Triangles, we said, was a shape that had 3 corners or 3 sides. So here's the word triangles. And here are lots of wonderful triangle shapes. Now, triangles don't have to all look the same as long as they have got 3 corners and 3 sides. They can be sort of skinny triangles, big, wide, fat triangles. As long as they've got 3 corners and 3 sides, they are going to be a triangle, okay? And then the last one was squares. And if you remember, squares have got the same length sides. Each one is the same length. If you were to get a little ruler and measure, you would find that every true square has got the same length sides on each of its 4 sides. So that's really good. So well done if you got that answer correct. Okay then, this one is interesting. So let's have a look at this top question first. We've got here 2 groups. We've got this group here, and we've got this group here. And the question is, how have the shapes been sorted? And if you understand what that means, it means what theme has the person used to group them? How has the person sorted them? Have they sorted them by size, by shape, by colour, by property? What do you think? Have a think and we'll check in a moment. And then the next question says, Eva has sorted some shapes. She's got triangles in this circle, this sorting circle, and she's got not triangles in this sorting circle. Is Eva correct? Has Eva done that right? Have a think about what I told you about triangles. And then what I want you to do is I want you to draw a shape that is not a triangle. Okay? So pause the video, work out those questions, and then we'll check in a moment. Okay, so how have these shapes been sorted? Well, if you look, we've got a yellow square, a yellow rectangle, and a yellow triangle. And then we've got a red big circle, a red medium-sized circle, and a red small circle. So that's telling me that they're definitely not sorted by shape or size, because there's lots of different sizes and there's lots of different shapes. But I'm looking and all of those are red and all of those are yellow. So I've written that they've been sorted by colour. So this is the red sorting sort of area, and this is the yellow sorting area. So you can see that colour has been what has been chosen to sort and organise those shapes. Then the next question was, Eva has sorted these shapes and she sorted them into triangles and not triangles. And my first question for this part was, is Eva correct? And the answer is no, she is not. If you look here, Eva has put all the sort of standard triangles together. So all these triangles are a nice standard size and shape. And she's put all the different type triangles in the not triangle section, but they are still triangles. They still have 3 corners and 3 sides. So well done if you knew that. And then I've said, draw a shape that is not a triangle. And I tried really hard, year ones. I tried my best to draw some neat shapes. So I've had a go at trying to draw a circle, which I found a bit wibbly wobbly. And then I had to go at trying to draw a square, which I found really hard. Because, oh no. Oh, where's your Weetabix, Mrs. Edwards? So I tried to draw a square, but I struggled with that one a little bit. But I did try my hardest. And then I tried to draw a nice rectangle. And all 3 of those shapes are not triangles. So any one of those shapes would be a good choice to draw. Okay, we have now got a lovely page here, which is showing us a combination of 2D shapes, which are flat, and 3D shapes, which are a little bit poppy-outy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what they all are. So we've got here a cone. And this one's already been sorted for you because a cone is a 3D shape. And the way I always remember that a cone is a 3D shape is I can put a scoop of ice cream on it. I can put a scoop of ice cream into a cone and it's a nice poppy out shape, isn't it? Okay. Then I'm going to go through and I'm just going to name the shapes now. I can't tell you if they're 2D or 3D because that's what you need to tell me. So you need to be looking and thinking, are they poppy out or are they flat? So we've got a circle, we've got a cube, we've got a square-based pyramid, we've got a rectangle, and we've got a triangle. So which ones do you think are 2D shapes? We need to put them in the 2D shape sorter. And which one do you think are 3D shapes? And we need to put the 3D shapes in the 3D sorter. So pause that video, work it out, and we'll check on the next slide. Okay then, so I've just said here, remember that the 2D shapes are flat and the 3D shapes pop up. So I've got here in my 2D shape sorting circle, or sorting oval I should say, that's not a circle, that's an oval. I've got a circle in my sorting oval, I've got a rectangle in my sorting oval, and I've got a triangle in my sorting oval. And all of those shapes are 2D flat shapes. But then in my 3D shape sorting oval, I've got a cone, I've got a cube, and I always remember, if you look at that shape of that cube, it reminds me of a dice or a die, and I know that that's a poppy-up shape, so that's how I remember that a cube is a poppy-up shape, because it reminds me of a dice. And then here, we've got that square-based pyramid, again, which is definitely poppy-up, and if you type into Google, Egypt pyramids, you will be able to see some fantastic buildings that are 3D square-based pyramids. Really fantastic. So well done if you got those answers correct. Now, this one simply says, can you sort the shapes into groups? And all of these shapes on this page are 3D poppy-up shapes. And there's 2 selections you can choose from. There are cylinders, which you can see here is this sort of shape. So it's the sort of shape that has it has a circle face on this side and it has a circle face on the bottom, and then it can roll. If you were to put it on its side and roll it, it would roll. So that's what a cylinder is. It has 2 circular faces, and then if you put it on its side, it will roll. And then this one here is a sphere. And sphere is a really hard word to say. My little boy calls it a sapphire. But it's a sphere, and it's a posh word for a ball. Okay, that's how you need to remember it. A sphere is a posh word for a ball. So what I need you to do is sort out the cylinders and the spheres and put them in the correct place. Okay, so have a good look which ones are spheres and which ones are cylinders. Pause the video and we'll have a check in a moment. Okay then, let's have a look then. Mrs Edwards has dragged her lines to the right places. So, spheres I'm going to start with. Posh balls. We've got a lovely red ball here. Drag it into the sphere selection. We've got a lovely tennis ball here. Drag it into the sphere selection. We've got a football here. Drag it into the sphere selection. And we've got a beautiful golden yellow ball, and I've dragged that into the sphere selection. Now that's left me with two other shapes because this blue cylinder has already been put in here. It was the sort of first one we had in, wasn't it? So I've got this cyan blue cylinder and I can see it has a circular face here and it will have one at the bottom, so I'm dragging that in there, and then I've got a tin of baked beans there, can you see? And a baked bean tin is definitely a cylinder. It has a circular face at the top and a circular face at the bottom, and if you were to go and grab yourself a tin of baked beans now, year ones, go and grab one, you will be able to turn that baked bean tin on its side and roll it across the floor, so you know that a baked bean tin is definitely a cylinder. So I've put that in the right place. Okay then, goodness gracious me, guess what? That is the end of our numeracy lesson for today. So let's check that we did our lesson really well. So our target was to recognise and name and sort some shapes. So the first thing we wanted to check was, could we name the 4 basic 2D shapes? So we looked at today circles, rectangles, squares and triangles, didn't we? I think we knew those quite well, so I would give yourself a nice happy face, give yourself a big smile. And then this one's a little bit harder because I wanted us to try and name at least 4 3D shapes. So we looked at cylinders, we looked at spheres, we looked at square-based pyramids, and we also looked at cubes and cuboids. So we did look at quite a few 3D shapes, didn't we? And then the last success criteria was that we could recognise similarities and differences between the 2D and 3D shapes. And we did this by sorting them. Okay, so I think we did that really well. Now remember, I love looking at your work, so if you have got any work that you want to share with me, send it to me via WhatsApp on 07858 986604 or email me at year1@wrens-nest.dudley.shoe.uk. Okay? I just want to say a big well done, year ones. You have been wonderful. Take care. Bye bye.